It's so lovely to have you here again today with me. This is Pastor Gloria Onoja. I'm a pastor evangelist, a mother, a wife, and I am here because you are there. I so much appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming around and thank you for sticking around. For those of you who have always been around and you've been part of this program, I'd like you to understand that on this space, you are not just a number. I value you so much, and I cannot be here if you are not there. Thank you so much for being around today, and I'm sure you've been getting value from all of the videos and the programs we do on this channel. And this channel is family centered, family focused, and it's centered at bringing out the best there is in you and your relationship. So bring on all of the conversations. If there is any need for you to talk with me one on one, my contact is going to be there, and do let me know in the comment section and let's connect heart to heart. If you need of a counselor, someone to pray with you on the issues of your marriage or your relationship, please do not hesitate to let me know, because that is why I am here. So without wasting much time, I like us to go straight into what we have today. Today, we've been looking at something. Last week we spoke on a topic that many people always ask question about, and that topic is love not enough for me to get married or for me to be in a relationship? And we went ahead to answer that question, and I'm sure you've gotten to understand why. Most of the times when you first met somebody or you fell in love, and that thing you think you call love, and those feelings, those excitement, and those forever feeling of, oh, I can't do without you, there's nothing I can achieve or I can attain without you, oh, you're my life, you're my heart trove, and I'm ready to spend my forever with you, and all of those forever feelings. With time you get to discover that they begin to settle down, they begin to flat out, and before you know, they are just all gone, and you're asking the question, was I not in love? Was that not love? What did I see at first before I entered into that relationship? And I'm sure you've been able to get some answers, to some of the things that have been troubling your mind. Even in case you've not watched that video, I encourage you to go ahead and watch the video. And if you're here, you have not subscribed to this channel, come on, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and help me share with other people. Let them know and let the YouTube algorithm know that others need to hear about it by hitting the like button, leaving a comment, and you make them to share our videos, to recommend our videos to other viewers who would need to watch them. Thank you so much for your partnership work. I do not take it for granted. So without wasting much time today, we're going into another aspect which I promised us the last time we spoke, that we're going to look at a topic that is very, very important. Why love dies. Yes. Genuine love can die or even flourish depending on how you treat it, on what you feed it with. Yes, if you feed genuine love properly with the appropriate food, it will live and not die. And you get to discover that love, like I always say, is a living thing, is not abstract. It's not just a feeling that, just like most people think or say, love is a feeling, that winning feeling that I have in my brain, in my mind, that butterfly feeling, and all of those chemistries that work, and all of those things. They could just be, the signs or the symptoms that something like this is happening. But love itself is not just abstract, it is a living thing, and it needs to be properly fed to grow. But where you don't feed the love you have, you discover that love begins to settle And gradually, my analogy most of the times about when love settles, it's like when you have a bottle of gruel, or a drink that has heavy content in it, you discover that when you place it, you keep it on the surface for some time, for a few minutes or an hour thereabout, you discover that some of the vital ingredients begin to settle down, and before you know, they are separated. Discover that a part is looking like water and the other part is looking like, the content, and it will never come back to normal except you raise it up and you shake it very well. There are people whose love has gotten to that stage of being settled. It's entering into a phase I call the coma phase. Yes, if your love enters into a coma phase, then it's at the verge of dying. And my advice is, don't let that love die, because once that love dies, the next thing is to prepare for the burial. Of course, that's not what you would love to do. So today we're looking at why love dies. Why love dies. There are so many reasons as to which why love dies, but I need you to understand that we're going to be running a series. This is lengthy because there are so many things that are involved in why love dies, and I'm not going to bug us with so many things today. We're just going to make an introduction, and then we'll start off with some other aspects, looking deep into why love dies and what we can do to make sure that our love does not die. And if your love is already in a coma, a state of coma, what can you do to bring it back alive? So please sit tight and get your paper and pen and note down points that you think is necessary for you to take actions about, to make sure that your love stays vibrant and active all the time. So what we're looking at today, one of the first things I'd like us to talk about is arguments that contains critical attacks. There is a way you argue certain things that, it's targeted at, bringing a form of understanding and equilibrium, bring you to a point of communication that you know that your point has been made clear and properly understood. But this type that I'm talking about that kills love, I consider them as the four horsemen, just like the good man will talk about. The four horsemen that destroys love or that makes love to die. So one of them is argument that leads to critical criticism. And it becomes destructive in the sense that they are criticism that are targeted at destroying or attacking a person's person or personality, character, and so many things. And when you're in a relationship and you discover that every time an argument comes up, you're always being critical about the person, there's one thing about criticism. It depends on how you choose to do it, or the part you choose to play with it in it. There are times that certain criticisms could be constructive. Such criticisms are aimed at improving the person, while the other part of criticism are destructive. So when an argument is targeted at, critical attacks, that is, they attack the person, the personality, the character, and every other thing of what the person does, you discover that it is an ingredient, is a horseman that is riding very seriously at destroying your relationship or even your marriage. I'm not going to say so much about that for now. So the second ingredient I like us to look at is the ingredient I consider defensiveness. Defensiveness, in the sense that everything that happens, you're not ready to take responsibility for anything. Whatever comes up, whatever your partner talks about, you always have a way, of defending or being defensive. It's not as if you're trying to, most of the times you just make excuses as to why you did what you did. So it just proved the point that you're always right. You defend whatever happens. In relationship, there are times when you just keep quiet and take responsibility for what has happened, and then you look for a way to communicate what led to what happened, but not in an attempt to be defensive to the point that you put the person out and you prove to the person that, oh, you don't have any right, no moral justification as to why you should be attacking my person, or talking about this thing in this way or in this manner. So this is another thing, defensiveness. You build a wall around yourself. You build a wall around the things you do, and you never let anyone in on them. So once anybody tries to do that, you just set that standard and the boundary and tell the person, no, 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 I can't, no, I can't let you go beyond this level, because this is the reason why I did what I did. These issues are issues that eat up. They are like cancer. They eat into the fabric of your relationship gradually, and before you know, they are on their way to killing your love. Now, the third aspect today is on the issue of emotional ignoring. When you begin to ignore the emotions of the other person, you begin to ignore the things that are of topmost importance, that has to do with the emotion of your partner, you discover that you're gradually killing what is on the inside, and then what you're doing is raising a dagger or pulling the trigger on your love, or the love of the marriage. So it is critical that we look at these things. Most marriages are like, in fact, they have gone into coma. In fact, some are already dead at this point. Why? Because you keep ignoring the emotional requests, the emotional demands, the emotional gestures of your partner, and then by so doing, they also get to a point that they become weak emotionally and withdraw. Once there's a pullback, a withdrawal, an emotional withdrawal, there's big trouble. Finally, today, I want to talk about a very serious aspect, which is the flat out contempt. Yes. It is a disapproval that is tinged with disgust. This can be in the form of mockery, criticism, or disrespect. Framing yourself as superior, then you're ignoring your spouse and all of those things. Discover that when these things are in place, it begins to escalate issues. Now you discover that from the arguments that are critical, you will now begin to overlook the cause of the argument or even the argument itself, and you begin to focus your attack on the person's person, their personality, their weaknesses, the issues they do. You can even go to the point of mimicking them. You can even go to the point of looking down on them, disrespecting them, and doing all forms of things, talking them down. You begin to put up all forms of things that make the person look so inferior, as if you're doing them a favor by being in the relationship with them. This is, in fact, it becomes a flat out when you do it outrightly. You understand? You do it outrightly. You make the person feel, oh, what's this? What's this? Are you talking to me? Are you kidding me? You take it out on the person outrightly. My darling, you're destroying your love. You're killing the love.